Happy holidays from all of us here at Wealthion to all of you. I'm one of your hosts here at Wealthion, Andrew Brill. We took a look back at this year and hope you enjoy these favorite guest moments from one of our best interviews of 2024.
And before we do a deep dive on where you think these specific markets are going, why don't we first just touch on your analysis and how you and your approach? You use a business cycle approach. Just tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so my business cycle is based on three different indicators. There is the leading, the coincident, and the lagging indicators. The leading indicator, and these are all data that we can get from the conference board. You can get it from Fred. It's just data you can get online actually. So it's not something in a magic box, but it's the way you also use these things and how you understand that they are actually the sequence of things. And I think that is where a lot of people are. What inflation is that before you see the economy is developing in a certain way and so on. And this is actually the sequencing of it and the understanding of that, which is extremely important. So what I see is that we have had the leading indicators leading the economy into a slowdown. And I've been waiting for now to see that the coincident indicator, which is the real economy, which is the production level, it's the NFP numbers, non-farm payrolls, and so on, actually starting to show that weakness. And then you have the inflation, the rates, the yields, which is the lagging indicators. For now, we've seen the leading indicators been declining for 24 months or so, and which is the equivalent of what we saw into the financial crisis. And we're actually starting to see that the lagging indicators in my model is starting to show a lot of weakness there, which is a little funny because in that, in the time between there, we should actually have seen the coincident indicators, meaning the non-farm payrolls that we had on Friday, should start to deteriorate and the labor market. And I actually think that is happening underneath the hood. And if you really look, closely, you will actually see that the non-farm payrolls that we're getting out these days are just, I don't trust them a lot. Let's just put it like that. So I think the economy is in a much worse place than most people actually understand at this point.
And one of the big unknowns about 2025 is that we have a new administration coming in, and there's going to be a lot of changes, a lot of policy changes, deregulation, taxes, reduction in taxes, an increase in tariffs, and also changes to immigration. And we really don't know the impact, what all of these changes are going to do to the economy. But to me, a lot of them will be inflationary. Like if you cut taxes, that's going to be inflationary. People are going to spend more. If you impose tariffs, that's going to result in higher inflation. Are you not concerned we might see a pickup in inflation in 2025?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. But again, I think that's what I talked about also on previous shows. I think there's going to be a whipsaw. So I think that what we're going to see is that the deflationary forces that are in play right now are in control. And that we can see because people are not spending, that as they should, and we see the consumption simply not being there where it's supposed to. So we don't see a pickup in that, so inflation can become a problem. In order for inflation to become a problem, we need to see exactly that. We need to see excess spending. We need to see that the money starts to circulate faster and faster. We don't see that, and that's why I say that the deflationary forces of the economy right now is in control. And I think the Fed is scared of some of these things here and what it unleashed. And that's why if you look at the momentum charts for inflation and for yields also, then the momentum is to the downside at this point. What you're then talking about is things that will come through and will be happening at some point in 25, but that's not creating inflation at this point. That will create the opposite again. And that you can have the perfect cocktail there, because then you may also have the Fed coming out blazing because they say, now we stare at inflation again in the face. They will have to do something, and then you have all the things that can come out there from the administration as well. So, yeah, I do fear inflation, but not at this point. And again, it's not just about one direction or the other. Actually, these things can turn pretty quickly, and especially if you have a downward force and you got all these things setting in motion, then the upward force on inflation can be setting in during 25, late 25, I would think, and then into 26. And that would be the next problem, especially if the economy is still sluggish, and I think it will be, because then you'll have the worst thing you can have, a sluggish economy while inflation is picking up, which is stagflation. And that will be bad for a lot of people.
And I think one of the things that really shocks me about this market, or maybe in the last 5 years is it's just not one bubble, but it's mini bubbles, right? And it's what John Maynard Keynes called animal spirits, and that's what's feeding everything. And I guess it has to do with cheap money also, but cryptocurrencies, right? There's over 9,000 different types of cryptocurrencies now. NFTs, you may recall, I think it was in 2021, somebody paid $69 million for an NFT by an artist by the name of Beeple. And then we had the metaverse. And that was another bubble. Now nobody talks about NFTs or the metaverse. And now I guess the big bubble is anything and everything to do with AI. And the poster child for AI is NVIDIA. And it's up 180% on the year. But maybe you can just speak to these bubbles. And I know you're a real student of the market, but how does this time we're living through right now compare to other bubbles? And why do you think it just keeps going from one asset class to another?
So I don't think we talk about many bubbles here. I think we're talking about one big bubble that is just, keep developing. And we haven't really seen the popping of that. We've seen a decline in the markets, but it was saved again, also even in Corona, and all the things we have seen over the last few years is just, adding up to the big one that we have right now. So I think I talk about what we have right now as the everything bubble. We have a bubble which includes, crypto and AI and everything we have, because everything has been, just been thrown money at it. And that's what we see developing. So I don't think these are, small new things that are coming. It's just part of the whole thing. And that comes back to the whole, what is the driver of this? First of all, it's the easy money, environment we've had for so many years, and it's been changing over the last few years here. And I think that is what's going to do a big change down the road. But until you can say that the inflation started to move up, we saw that money was just thrown at everything. And we had these new technologies coming out. We had AI, we had blockchain, we have all these things, which are wonderful technologies, and they will change the world, 100%. They were going to change the world, just like what we've seen so many times before when the railway came out, and we had the technology of the steam engine in the 1850s. You had the automobile and so on in the early 1900s. And, all these things are technologies that comes up. And what happens every time around that, you can also go back and 180, 170 years to look at around the railways, at the railroad and the steam engine. You have bubbles emerging from that. You have, companies popping up and say, oh, now this is going to be something fantastic. And everybody's trying to figure out how it all fits in. And that's what happens this time again. So you're talking about those, thousands of cryptos there. I can tell you that I think 99% of those and 99.9% of those are going to be worthless within a couple of years. And I'm even in some of these right now. So it's the technology down beneath. It's the blockchain technology. It's the AI, but it's not the whole speculation around this right now. And that is where market is sometimes front running things and try, oh my God, this is fantastic. And they're just throwing the money into it, which builds up the bubble that then bursts. We'll see some, big declines in the market, and we'll see also a lot of failures in some of these, exaggerated, in terms of valuation of companies. And then we'll see that the real ones will then emerge from this, the whole decline. So you will see that there will be another, whatever it's going to be, Amazon or whatever we saw after the 2000 also bubble there. So we will see that. But it's not going to be the thousands or the hundreds of them that everybody seems to believe now. It's going to be the normal cycle as I see it. We're going to have the bust, and we're going to see a lot of these fail. And then we'll see a few of them emerge, and there will be a real business case on those. And that will be due to the technology that is behind it. It's the technology that will drive. But it is not that will save the world at this point. We will have the bust, and then the fourth, industrial revolution is going to be set in motion by some of these technologies, I'm quite certain of.
I touched on NFTs, but I don't know if you saw that recently. There was a cryptocurrency investor. His name's Justin Sun. He paid $6 million for a piece of art, which was essentially a banana duct taped to the wall. Did you see that?
Yeah, I rest my case. I mean, this is the craziness. This is the stupidity that we see in every cycle. And every time we're told that this time is different, and no, and you don't understand, Henrik. And I know this is the thing. So yes, I did see that. And again, it's just like another tick in the box saying, okay, we got this kind of stupidity. Obviously, we're getting closer to it. So yeah.
But what was even better is that he called a press release, I guess, just to probably did it for publicity. And then he actually ate the banana.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that as well. Yeah.
Henrik, we can't discuss Bitcoin without talking about Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy was up 500% on the year. I wish I was long, but I'm not. And now it's up, I think, just over 400%. It's pulled back quite a bit, and because he's raising money. And I don't know if you heard, but Michael Saylor has implemented this 21-21 plan. He wants to raise $21 billion in cash, $21 billion in debt, and he's going to put the proceeds into Bitcoin. And I'm not even sure how much he spent thus far, but do you see this as another sign?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And him, appearing on TV and talking about on media, talking about how we should, U.S. should sell all its gold and buy Bitcoin. I mean, complete craziness. I mean, stupidity, honestly. So just to be frank here, obviously, this is again one of I actually had these very high targets on MicroStrategy. I could see it also, and I actually think I haven't studied it just for the last couple of weeks here, so I could see there could be another high on it because I think they're going to follow Bitcoin. So I think with this Bitcoin has not found its top yet, and I think there is a significant upside still on Bitcoin. Well, so I think MicroStrategy can move even higher here, but. It's again, I have to say, and we can be on here again in a year's time. I think when we sit here again next year, new Christmas tree, MicroStrategy will have crashed, tremendously, and just like straight down to a certain point also. So it's what he's doing here is a very dangerous game, and just about betting all your whole existence on a crypto, on Bitcoin, and just saying it's just going to go up all the time. It's yielding zero, and if we get a deflationary bust that I'm talking about, and we get a stagflation as well, Bitcoin is not going to do very well. So I think it's a very dangerous game that he's playing, and it will work sometimes, and then we know he'll be a villain for a certain amount of years. But I just think this time around, if we get the lows that I can see in Bitcoin coming in after this top here, then it's not going to bode well for MicroStrategy. But hey, he's up a lot of percentages at this point. But we have seen this before. We see how things go straight up, and then in the Eiffel Tower, it normally comes straight down again. I think that's going to be the case here as well.
So it's interesting to see Michael Saylor going all like risk on in a big way, and he's going all in on Bitcoin. And then Warren Buffett, he's at the other end of the spectrum, and he's raising cash. He's sitting on a record level of cash right now, $325 billion.
Yeah. I think if I have to choose between the two, I know who I'll put my money on that. And I think it's, it's again, in a crazy world, the crazy person will seem normal. But the problem is we are in a crazy world right now. So the crazy people are the ones that will seem normal because they do the crazy stuff. Fact is, in the real world, and that we will get back to it when we see the bust also, the way of running a business like what Warren Buffett does, and obviously he's been proving who am I to actually even just talk about that. He is, as I see it, this is the way to do things. And at this point here, when you have crazy valuations, you want to raise your cash, you want to raise cash, you want to make sure that you are ready for the next decline, you get ready for that, your credit lines and so on. And then let the crazy people talk about buying Bitcoins and selling gold and doing and buying bananas from his duct tape to the walls. I mean, these are the kind of things we see in the crazy worlds. And again, I said the crazy people will seem normal for a certain amount of time until the point where the shit hits the fan. But that's not a popular thing to talk about. So when I talk about this with people, they'll say, Henry, it's because you don't understand it. You don't understand AI. You don't understand crypto. So that's why this time you'll be different. This time is different. And let's see.
Thanks again for watching these favorite moments of 2024, and we hope we can continue to provide you with information that'll help you invest wisely and be financially resilient. Wishing all of you a healthy, happy, safe, and prosperous 2025.